Welcome to Big Breaking News of America. A detailed report on the legal saga involving Sean Diddy Combs, covering his accusations, exposure, arrest, incarceration, trials, and the latest updates as of May 11, 2025. This report draws from available information, critically examining the narrative while sticking to verified details and avoiding speculation beyond what's supported by sources. Background and initial accusations. Sean Combs, known as Diddy, Puff Daddy, or P. Diddy, is a prominent figure in hip-hop, a three-time Grammy winner, and the founder of Bad Boy Records. His influence spans music, fashion, and entrepreneurship, amassing a reported billion-dollar fortune. However, since 2023, Combs has faced severe allegations that have shifted his public image from a music mogul to a defendant in a high-profile criminal case. The accusations against Combs began to gain significant traction in November 2023 when his former girlfriend, Cassandra Cassie Ventura, filed a civil lawsuit alleging years of physical and sexual abuse. The lawsuit described a pattern of coercive behavior, including claims that Combs forced Ventura into sexual acts, some of which were recorded, and subjected her to physical violence. This lawsuit, settled quickly out of court, opened the floodgates for additional civil suits. Over 60 civil lawsuits have since been filed against Combs, accusing him of sexual assault, rape, and other forms of abuse spanning decades, with some claims dating back to the 1990s. Attorney Andrew Van Arsdale, representing 37 plaintiffs, has indicated over 400 additional potential civil claims may follow the criminal trial, citing fears of retaliation if Combs is acquitted. The civil suits allege a consistent pattern of abuse, often involving Combs leveraging his wealth, fame, and industry power to manipulate and exploit victims. Many lawsuits describe freak-off parties' alleged drug-fueled, multi-day sex orgies involving coerced participation, heavy drug use, and large quantities of lubricants, as noted in social media depictions. These civil cases, while separate from the criminal charges, have bolstered the narrative of systemic misconduct. Exposure and federal investigation. The public exposure of Combs' alleged misconduct intensified following Ventura's lawsuit. A pivotal moment came in March 2024 when federal agents raided Combs' properties in Los Angeles and Miami, signaling a serious escalation. These raids, conducted by Homeland Security investigations, were part of a federal probe into allegations of sex trafficking, racketeering, and related crimes. The raids uncovered evidence, including electronic devices and documents, that prosecutors later cited in their indictment. A significant piece of evidence emerged in May 2024 when a 2016 hotel surveillance video was released, showing Combs physically assaulting Ventura in a Los Angeles hotel hallway. The footage, which corroborated parts of Ventura's lawsuit, depicted Combs hitting, dragging, and kicking her. This video became a cornerstone of public and legal scrutiny, undermining Combs' claims of consensual relationships and fueling outrage. Posts on X from late 2023 reflect the growing public sentiment, with users like @ComplexCut citing court documents with trigger warnings due to their graphic nature, suggesting the severity of the allegations. By 2024, the narrative on X and in media outlets framed Combs' case as potentially exposing broader networks of misconduct in Hollywood, with some comparing it to Jeffrey Epstein's case, though such claims remain speculative. Arrest and criminal charges. On September 16, 2024, Combs was arrested in New York City following a federal grand jury indictment. The indictment, unsealed the next day, charged him with 5 felony counts: racketeering conspiracy, 2 counts of sex trafficking, and 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. Prosecutors allege that from at least 2004 to 2024, Combs led a criminal enterprise that facilitated sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. The indictment details a persistent and pervasive pattern of abuse involving verbal, emotional, physical, and sexual misconduct. It accuses Combs of coercing women into participating in freak-offs, drug-fueled sexual performances that he allegedly arranged, directed, and recorded, sometimes without victims' knowledge. The charges also claim Combs used his business empire, including Bad Boy Records, to enable these acts, with associates and employees allegedly assisting in covering up his conduct. A superseding indictment filed on January 30, 2025, added allegations of Combs using force, threats, and coercion against at least 3 unnamed female victims for commercial sex acts, alongside claims of physical abuse, including throwing objects, choking, and dangling a victim over a balcony. Combs pleaded not guilty to all charges, and his legal team has consistently denied the allegations, asserting that any sexual activities were consensual and involved long-term partners, such as ex-girlfriends. They argue the prosecution is attempting to criminalize consensual adult relationships. Incarceration and bail denials. Following his arrest, Combs was denied bail 3 times, with judges citing a high risk of witness tampering. Prosecutors presented evidence that Combs used jailhouse communications to influence witnesses, including unauthorized 3-way calls and using other inmates' phone access codes. He has been held at the Metropolitan Detention Center, MDC, in Brooklyn's Special Housing Unit since September 2024, a facility known for its harsh conditions. On January 30, 2025, Combs was briefly transported to Brooklyn Hospital Center for an MRI due to knee pain, returning to the MDC hours later. His legal team has challenged his detention, appealing to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, but he remains incarcerated pending trial. During court appearances, Combs has been allowed to wear personal clothing: 5 shirts, 5 sweaters, 5 pairs of pants, and 2 pairs of laceless shoes rather than a prison jumpsuit, per Judge Aaron Subramanian's order. His appearance has changed in custody, with reports noting a goatee and a leaner frame, though some outlets described him as pudgy. Trial proceedings. Pre-trial developments. Combs bolstered his legal team with high-profile attorneys, including Mark Agnifilo, Brian Steele, known for defending rapper Young Thug, Xavier Donaldson, and Nicole Westmoreland. Mark Garagos, a celebrity attorney, has advised the team unofficially, though his public comments on the case, including referring to prosecutors as a six-pack of white women, drew a judicial admonishment for potentially prejudicing the trial. On May 2, 2025, Combs rejected a plea deal that could have reduced his potential sentence, opting to face trial and risking life imprisonment if convicted. His defense team also sought to dismiss some charges, arguing Combs was unfairly targeted due to his race, but Judge Subramanian rejected this claim on May 9, 2025, stating the severity of the alleged crimes, not race, drove the prosecution. Jury selection. The trial began on May 5, 2025, with jury selection in Manhattan Federal Court. Over 36 prospective jurors were questioned about their knowledge of the case, biases, and experiences with sexual assault or domestic violence. They were shown a list of over 100 people and places potentially relevant to the trial, including celebrities like Michael B. Jordan, Kid Cudi, Mike Myers, and Cassie Ventura, none of whom are accused of wrongdoing. Jury selection faced hurdles. About half of the initial jurors were excused due to biases or personal conflicts. One juror, who worked at the MDC and jokingly declined to extend Combs' visiting hours, was dismissed. Another was excused after admitting to recent marijuana use and difficulty abstaining during the trial. On May 9, 2025, Judge Subramanian postponed the final phase of jury selection to May 12, citing concerns that jurors might drop out over the weekend. Key witnesses and challenges. Prosecutors plan to call 4 accusers to testify, including Ventura, who is expected to use her real name in court. Ventura, spotted pregnant in New York City on May 7, 2025, is considered the government's lead witness due to her 2023 lawsuit and the 2016 video evidence. 3 other witnesses are referred to as Jane Does, but a significant setback occurred when one key witness, Victim 3, went missing. This witness, who intended to reveal her identity during the trial, could not be located by prosecutors, who told the court she may not show up. This development has thrown the prosecution's case into disarray, with experts noting it could weaken their narrative if the witness remains absent. Combs' defense plans to counter Ventura's testimony by alleging mutual domestic violence, claiming she also engaged in violent acts against him. This strategy aims to undermine her credibility as a victim. Opening statements and trial outlook. Opening statements are scheduled for May 12, 2025, with testimony to follow. The trial is expected to last months, given the complexity of the charges and the high-profile nature of the case. Prosecutors must prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Combs orchestrated a criminal enterprise involving non-consensual acts, while the defense will argue that all interactions were consensual and that Combs is being unfairly targeted. If convicted on all counts, Combs faces a mandatory minimum of 15 years and up to life in prison. Even if acquitted, the dozens of civil lawsuits awaiting him ensure his legal battles will continue. Latest updates, as of May 11, 2025. Jury selection delay. The final phase of jury selection was postponed to May 12, 2025, after Combs' attorneys expressed concerns about jurors withdrawing. This delay aims to ensure a stable jury for the trial's start. Missing witness. Prosecutors are struggling to locate Victim 3, a key witness who planned to testify about personal and explosive details of abuse. Her absence could impact the prosecution's case, though 4 other witnesses, including Ventura, remain slated to testify. Defense strategy: Combs' legal team intends to challenge Ventura's testimony by alleging mutual violence, a move that could polarize the courtroom and public opinion. Public and media attention: the trial has drawn intense scrutiny, with outlets like USA Today offering a Diddy on trial newsletter and podcasts like The Trial of Diddy covering developments. Social media, particularly X, continues to speculate about broader implications, though such claims lack concrete evidence. Civil lawsuits looming: regardless of the trial's outcome, Combs faces over 60 active civil suits and potentially hundreds more, signaling ongoing legal challenges. Critical analysis: the case against Combs raises complex questions about power dynamics in the entertainment industry, the credibility of accusers, and the potential for prosecutorial overreach. The prosecution's reliance on Ventura and other witnesses, coupled with physical evidence like the 2016 video, strengthens their case, but the missing witness and the defense's strategy to portray relationships as consensual introduce uncertainty. The sheer volume of civil lawsuits suggests a pattern, but their separation from the criminal case means they may not directly influence the trial's outcome. Public discourse, especially on X, has occasionally veered into unverified conspiracy theories, such as comparisons to Epstein, which lack substantiation. Combs' defense has also attempted to frame the prosecution as racially motivated, a claim rejected by the court but reflective of broader tensions in high-profile cases involving black defendants. The trial's outcome will hinge on the jury's interpretation of evidence and witness credibility. Combs' decision to reject a plea deal indicates confidence in his defense but also raises the stakes, as a conviction could lead to a life sentence. Meanwhile, the civil suits ensure that his legal and reputational challenges will persist. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell icon and leave a like for more videos and share it with your friends and family and express your thoughts under comment section. Bye bye, take care.